Hello, everybody, and welcome to the greatest props fest you're ever going to see for as long as you live. Presented by The Athletic, partnered with BetMGM. Let's hop to it. It's Super Bowl week. We got a bunch of props to get through. We only got about 20 minutes. So let me introduce my friends and yours. Zac Jackson, our writer for the Cleveland Browns. He's the man. Zach, what's happening?
Oh, nothing. Just ready to get to this Super Bowl. I've only been studying these props, I feel like, since the pandemic started. I knew the Chiefs were going to be here. So I'm ready that it's finally here.
Strangely, I have money on the Bucks. I got some Bucks plus 450 action. Thanks a lot to the next man, Gene Clemons, who wrote a good thing about picking the props earlier a couple weeks ago. Gene, what's up, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Let's jump into it. Zach, I want to start with you, but before we get into some of these the ones we prepared to talk about, what's the one prop bet across the entire Super Bowl betting spectrum that you're just on, that you're all over?
Tyreek Hill over yards, right? He had 200 in the first quarter in the last game, so of course the Bucks are going to cover him differently, right? Of course they're going to bracket coverage, but we're talking about Andy Reid, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, and we're talking about Tyreek Hill. They're going to get him the ball. He's going to make plays. And if you think the Bucks are going to play well, Nando, and I kind of agree with you, it's even more reason that the Chiefs are going to need Tyreek Hill. It was 90.5 yards this morning. It's 92.5 now. I think he's going to crush that. I think 120 at minimum in a big day for Tyreek Hill.
Gene, you wrote actually a really great scouting column where you talked about how Kansas City's Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman type weapons, they're going to rush, and they got an offense that's beat for them to beat you with some long rushes. I just want to throw that out there. People should go check it out. It's a really great story. But what's your take on what prop you're just like jumping all over right now?
Well, I think that it doesn't really matter what side you're on. If you think the Bucks or you think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win, the one thing you know for sure is that Tampa Bay is not going to beat Kansas City running the ball, and Kansas City is not going to beat Tampa Bay running the ball. I actually think that this is a game that Kansas City has an opportunity to blow out. And if that happens, it's going to be a lot of Buccaneers throwing the ball. You got to love the Mike Evans pick over on yards. I don't see a way that he's not at 100 yards at the end of this game, because he's going to be on the outside. The Honey Badger is going to be on the interior. He's probably going to be matched up on Godwin. And so I think that's going to make Godwin's day a little tougher. Outside, you're just going to get Mike Evans getting a lot of what I consider to be just kind of, empty yards, but great for somebody that's looking to prop bet. I think that he's a great prop bet for his over yards, especially because I think right now he's underneath Godwin for yards. I think he's going to get 100 yards on Sunday. I don't think there's a way that they can keep him from getting those types of yards, just based off of how they will have to play in order to stop those interior receivers from really having a great day.
All right, I'm in for that. Got a couple overs to start the show. Let's go. This is optimism. Heads or tails? Zach, what do you think?
Tails never fails.
Gene?
Tails never fails.
All right, there you go, Bill. You got two tails, man. I don't know if you really get into the depth of it and like the let's make a deal conundrum. I don't know if that means you should stick with us and go tails or go heads, because you got a 50-50 shot. Let's get to the race to however many points, which is one of the coolest props I like, because it just kind of like adds another element to the game. Right now, who scores 15 points first? The Chiefs are minus 130. The Bucks are plus 105. I pulled up some stats on Sport Radar. In the first quarter of the season, they're actually pretty close. The Chiefs score 94 points all of this season in the first quarter. The Bucks have scored 88. If you put it into the first half completely, the Chiefs 243, the Bucks 245. So, it's interesting. I mean, obviously they haven't played each other to put those numbers up, but they're putting up almost the exact same numbers in the first half in this entire season. Zach, let me go to you first. Who's going to score 15 first? Is it going to be the Bucks, or is it going to be the Chiefs?
Well, I want more than plus 105 on the Bucks, but I would lean to the Bucks for this reason, Nando. They got buried early in the first game, right? It was 17-0 right off the bat in Week 12 when these teams played. They won the toss that day and they deferred. I got to think they learned their lesson. They want the ball first. You go back to last year's playoffs, the Chiefs were notoriously slow starters, double-digit deficits in both playoff games before the Super Bowl. The Niners did score first in the Super Bowl. This year, 1-1, scoring first in their playoff games. But the Chiefs are not fazed about having to come from behind. I do think going back to that Green Bay game, I totally agree with Gene on Mike Evans. Remember that first drive throw, Tom Brady, just a throw that many guys can't make, and Evans makes the catch. So I have a slight lean there in the race to 15 for the Bucs. I mean, I feel stronger about Bucs first quarter at plus a bigger plus price, but I would lean towards the Bucs in this case.
Zach, is that the Bucs to win the first quarter you're talking about?
Yes. Or
Nice.
I think you can get plus a half for laying minus 125. If it's 7-7, 3-3, you win that bet.
That's not bad at all, actually. Yeah, that wasn't in the rundown, but we'll take it. Gene, how do you see this starting off? Because you think of the Tom Brady leads a comeback kind of thing. So I'd lean Kansas City, but at minus 130 and then both being even. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts to contradict that?
I think that a lot of times Tampa Bay tends to get off to a slower start than Kansas City when Kansas City is really looking to to hit the gas. What I've noticed Kansas City do a lot this year is they start off fast and then they just try to get the game over. Their thought process has been playoffs and championship all season. I don't see a reason why that stops now. I see them pressing the gas early. I could see them coming right out the gate, touchdown, or touchdown, field goal, touchdown. And then it just becomes who can keep up with whom. And I think that means Kansas City beats them to that number faster.
Gee, let me just follow up with that because one of the props I wanted to get to was what's the first scoring play going to be? And it's I think actually you wrote this again in your column, which I'm just going to keep bringing up, I guess, on the show.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Check it out on The Athletic. And also check out theathletic.com. We got an offer down in the descriptions here. If you're not at a gambling house yet, or if you want to just check it out, a different sports book, there's a $600 risk-free bet at BetMGM if you just follow the link here in the description. But so anyway, I thought this was interesting because I think it was you who wrote, these guys have had 2 weeks to game plan. I think you concluded with that. Like, Bieniemy has had 2 weeks to game plan, and Leftwich has had 2 weeks to game plan. So they're going to come out with some stuff. So I thought, what is the first scoring play? You got Chiefs field goal plus 550, Bucks field goal at 500, Chiefs safety at plus 5,000, Bucks safety plus 5,000. The touchdown is plus 130 for Kansas City, plus 180 for Tampa Bay. I don't know, man. It seemed like the field goal has pretty good odds, but did you look at something else, like the way this game's going to kind of open up with a bang?
No, I think that you can't go wrong with a plus money. And anytime you're getting plus money, it's a great bet. I'll take Kansas City to with a passing touchdown to start the game. But interesting enough, I think that prop, along with a lot of other props, really will come down to who has the ball first. I think whoever has the ball first scores a touchdown. I'd be really surprised if whoever has the ball first does not score a touchdown. But I think whomever has it, it's going to be a pass. Kansas City tends to get a little bit more innovative than Tampa Bay does. I think because of the limitations of Tampa Bay's quarterback and what he can do with his feet. But so if they get close, you definitely are going to see like a touchdown pass to either Gronkowski or Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. With Kansas City, you could see a touchdown pass to either one of those guys. You could see a shovel pass over to Kelsey, which they like to use down in the goal line, or you can see a bomb over the top because it's Kansas City.
Gene's a coach, by the way. Pay attention to this. He knows what he's talking about. Zach, when you look at these odds, let's say you like a couple. How do you kind of play that numbers game and spread your money around? Which one of these do you like best?
Yeah, I like Gene's thought on going to the plus money. If you're going to play 3 and realistically go 2-1, you have a plus money, you have a nice night. If you're going to play 15 and think you're going to go 13-2, you're probably crazy, but it is the Super Bowl, right? So I like Tampa Bay, the plus money in the first quarter. I like Tom Brady to register a rushing yard at plus 145. I think we saw in both the Cleveland game and more specifically in the Buffalo game, you don't beat the Chiefs by kicking. You don't punt, you don't kick field goals. It is the Super Bowl. It's not week 6 against the Panthers. They will sneak Tom Brady if they need to. They did it twice in the New Orleans game a couple of weeks ago, once for a first down, once for a touchdown. He actually ended up with 5 rushing attempts in that game when you count the kneels at the end of the game. So Tom Brady to register a rushing yard plus 145 really jumped off the page for me.
Oh, nice. All right. That's an interesting one, man. It's Tom Brady, right? Like, we all make fun of him for being kind of not mobile. But
and it's interesting, Zach, that you bring that one up because I've got an article coming about the top 4 props to stay away from. and in there is everything rushing. So stay tuned because it's some very interesting stats on Tom Brady running the ball, and how that could possibly affect itself in this game.
In the Cleveland game, the Chiefs scored first. Mahomes ran that option, and then later his foot was really bothering him before the concussion. But I think now with the extra week, and he certainly showed he was willing to run when he needed to in the Buffalo game, I think he'll be fine. I think you got to look at Mahomes rushing props as well.
We got a Mahomes rushing prop, don't we, in here somewhere? 19.5 yards. I don't know if I actually put that in the rundown, if I wrote it somewhere else. It's been a long week. But the Mahomes rushing prop is 19.5 yards. What do you guys think about that?
It sounded right to me. If you think the Bucs are going to play well, I think you like Mahomes rushing prop. I mean, it's just the dimension, right? They can spread you out. They can attack you so many different ways. And you don't want to blitz him because he'll burn you that way. So if he has a chance to take 8 or 12 yards, he's shown he can do it.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that he hits that number, but I think it's only if he gets a big run. I don't think you'll see a 4 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards, 6 yards type thing. I think that if he hits that number, it'll be because he had a really long or good sized run. But I also warn people that the Buccaneers linebackers are acutely, they're built to stop rushers. They're built to stop running quarterbacks. Those guys can run. They're some of the best runners in the league, and between them and their defensive backs, they all like to come up and hit you. So I don't know if you want to make a living off of having your franchise quarterback running against the Bucs.
Let's jump to the Gatorade. I want to hit the Gatorade one real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time for this. I think we said 20 minutes. I know you guys got other stuff to do, but look, orange is the favorite. BetMGM actually gave us some numbers today, where I think like that's getting most of the money, but it's tied up top with blue, which I found odd in terms of how many people are actually betting on it. So blue's at plus 800. Maybe it's just an attractive line. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's one of the fun ones that people like. Gene, what do you think about the Gatorade bath, the Gatorade shower?
I think you always have to go with red. Red's always seems to be one of those flavors that ends up being there, because I think that Gatorade has more flavors that are red than any other color. So if you're just thinking about the amount of flavors that Gatorade has, and that will probably be in that powder form that they use in the Gatorade bucket, there's most likely going to be a red somewhere.
Zach, how about you, man? A lot of pictures last year. Andy Reid was getting hit with orange Gatorade. Did that play into your decision in this at all?
It was orange last year, so you got to think maybe that is the preferred flavor of the Chiefs. But here's some real sicko stuff, Nando. The last time it was played in Tampa 12 years ago, it was yellow.
All right. That's plus 5. Hey, side note, you guys consider the popular one yellow or green? I've always considered it green, but apparently not.
Oh, the lemon lime, you mean? That's a great question. Yeah. I would consider it yellow, probably.
I would probably consider it yellow. I think yellow's right.
All right. Just want to make sure. Here's one that I just loved. I put it, I mean, this is so confusing to me. Doing fantasy all year, like you get into like the minutia of a lot of things. And this one, who's going to get the first reception for Tampa Bay? There are so many options. Like Antonio Brown's on that team. It's just like so. You go back 2 years and be like, here's a team with Antonio Brown, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, and this dude Chris Godwin, who you haven't heard of yet. And it's just like kaboom. And even like Scotty Miller's plus 800 for the first reception, who Brady's liked a lot. Zach, man, like who gets the first reception on the Bucs? Or just like just stay away from this one because it's so insane.
Yeah, I think you look at Evans and Godwin for this reason. I mean, Tom Brady's done this for a long time and has done it on this stage, right? If it's a young quarterback that might freak out, you're probably going to scheme him an easy one to calm the nerves. It's Tom Brady. Like if he sees a chance to throw it 18, 25 yards down the field, he's going to do that. So I think you look at the two guys that do that for the Bucs, and they both do it very well.
Gene, you have any different perspective on this, or are you on board with that?
Yeah, again, this is one of the props that I say stay away from, just because it's so crazy. It could go to anybody, and I'm not really a big fan of just giving my money away for hope. But I think that if you see anything, it's gonna come down to who gets the possession, and B, it's probably going to be Travis Kelce.
Not to go back to fantasy stuff again, but 50 rushing yards is actual prop. And when you look at the running backs in this game, you're like, that's Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Darrell Williams, Edwards-Helaire. And then, you can throw Mahomes and Brady in there, but they're kind of, Brady's very much a long shot. But it's kind of like, I mean, Leonard Fournette's been on a bit of a roll, Zach. He's minus 110. He's obviously the favorite here to get 50 rushing yards. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It interested me a lot. Like, just 50 rushing yards seems like such a gettable number, especially for these two teams. Do you play anyone here? Or do you look at this like, yeah, Williams is actually nice at plus 225 to get 50 rushing yards?
Seems like a gettable number. But I'm going to go with Gene's thought that Tampa really doesn't run the ball in this game except when they have to. I actually circled a couple of them. Player with most rushing yards, Tyreek Hill plus 3,500, Hardman plus 5,000. The way they run, the jet stuff and the reverses, why couldn't one of those guys take 150 or 60 yards and end up as a leading rusher in this game?
Zach, I don't know if you've read Gene's column yet today, but that's you can enjoy it, man. There you go, Gene.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the other good props is the longest rush. And if you look at longest rush, I think Tyreek Hill and Hardman both have really tasty numbers. And all they need is one. All they need is one where there's an opening and you know they're getting at least 30 plus. The problem with the rushing over 50 for these guys is that they're platoons. You're going to have multiple backs getting rushes for both teams. And I don't think anyone's going to be able to break. I mean, Tampa Bay has the number one rushing defense in the NFL. Kansas City is not bad against the rush either. All of them have defensive backs that are really adept at tackling. And I think that that's going to play a role in keeping those numbers down. Plus, when you're talking about tendencies, the tendencies for the Bucs have been run early, play action, pass on second, third down. I just don't think that's going to be the game plan they go into, because that's the game plan that Kansas City is going to be preparing for. And then with Kansas City, I mean, they just really haven't rushed it consistently well all year. So,
all right, fair. Let me skip down to this Rob Gronkowski receptions one. I know, again, it's like one of those ones maybe you want to stay away from, but it's just like Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady, kind of getting what you guys have been saying, like the game planning. Gronk hasn't been totally involved this year. They're also very familiar. They've won Super Bowls together. So, no receptions is plus 700. One reception for Gronk is plus 350. 2 is 240. 3 is 325. 4 is 450. 5 or more is 450. I'm not sure, Zach, if the payoff is enough to maybe be like, yeah, give me 4 and give me 2, and I'll put $10 on each of them. But I don't know, man. It's like Brady and Gronk, and it's just such an interesting dynamic. And the story yesterday that he recorded a bunch of videos of himself running on the same day in different shirts. Like, just to show that he was working out on different days. I don't know, man. You got the exact number. I don't want to keep bringing up stay away from bets, but I mean, is this something that maybe you could put like $20 on a couple places?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could take a shot at the 3 and the 4. Cameron Brate has been the tight end they've thrown to the most in the playoffs. The Chiefs know that too. Gronk has an extra week to heal that body. He's certainly not afraid of the Super Bowl stage. The quarterback trusts him. So, yeah, I'm not stunned if it's 0, but I think if you're betting, I think you can take a look at 3, 4, 5 receptions in this game.
Gene, how are you looking at this one with Gronk?
Yeah, I think there's a sweet spot in there, probably around 3, 4 receptions. I think that when you think about no Willie Gay for Kansas City, so that's going to limit the athletic linebackers that they have. They're going to have to pay so much attention to the other guys, and they're going to be looking at Brady, especially in the two tight end sets, that you could get Gronk matched up one-on-one. And we know that they like to get Gronk on that wheel route a couple times, and then Gronk ends up being the hot route a lot of times when they bring pressure. So they have a good chemistry there. I think that Brady will resort back to what he knows, and what he knows is Rob Gronkowski.
All right, last one I want to hit, and then I want to get your actual game predictions. BetMGM has this thing called a LOSECAST. So it's a player, it's a prop, it's kind of a parlay. There's a player to score plus the team loses. And I looked up some of these numbers just to see what they looked like. And I know, props are fun. You can obviously poke holes with all kinds of stats. But in the losses this year for each team, Mike Evans has 30 points. He's 5 touchdowns in losses. Darwin Thompson actually has 2. Then Mahomes, Brady, Hill, Kelsey, Godwin, they all have 1 all the way down. The favorite is actually, must be looking at the same numbers. It's Mike Evans is going to score and the Buccaneers are going to lose. Fournette's going to score, the Bucs to lose is plus 200. Godwin's to score plus 230. obviously the Buccaneers are favored to lose, so you just throw in someone who's going to score a touchdown, you get those odds. I'm just wondering if anything jumped out at you guys here. Like, Zach, did you look at this and say, well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire might score and the Chiefs might lose. I like the Bucs here. That's plus 450. Is that attractive enough for you to jump into one of these LOSECAST bets?
The Mike Evans is not attractive enough, nor do I want to steal Gene's thunder here. But Cameron Brate at plus 500, I think is very attractive there. I mean, they've thrown to him in the red zone, and they've thrown to him on what looks to be, from the TV anyway, design throws all throughout the playoffs.
Yo, Zach's our tight end expert here. You called Dawson Knox in the Bills game to score a touchdown. To score first.
I did.
Yeah, that was crazy. Gene, how about you?
Yeah, I was looking at the Cameron Brate pick. I thought the Cameron Brate one seemed more like what could happen. I also like a Tyler Johnson to score and the Bucs to lose at plus 1,200, because if they're getting blown out, you can see Tyler Johnson get a lot more snaps later in the game, and one of those garbage touchdowns that they'll throw on at the back end, you could catch him, in the end zone for a touchdown. That would be a great payoff.
Wow. All right, man. That's all the way down to the bottom. I almost didn't copy and paste that one into here because it was so low. All right, plus 1,200 for Tyler Johnson, the Bucs to lose. Let's wrap it up. And by the way, like, if obviously the follows are on the bottom. You can see the Akron Jackson, and you can see Gene Clemons. You can see their handles. Excellent follows. I highly suggest it. All right, Zach. Let's just talk the regular game. Who's winning? What are we doing with the odds? And how are you doing the over/under?
Well, it's when you're playing props and you're playing Super Bowl stuff, you want to root for points. You want it to be a fun game, right? I think that will be. I think that the Bucs will play well. I think Brady will play well. I think Mike Evans will have a big game. I just don't know that you can beat the Chiefs right now. So I'm looking at the overs. I'm looking at Kansas City, team total over 30 specifically. And I look for Tom Brady to have a big game, for the Bucs to score a lot of points and the Chiefs to win it in the end. Something like 34, 33, 35, 31, something in that range. So give me yards over, give me points over, certainly give me the game over 56.
Nice. Gene, how about you, sir?
So, full disclosure, I'm a Buccaneers fan.
Yeah.
Buccaneers fans, please forgive me. I think this is the absolute worst matchup that Tampa Bay could have hoped for. I was really praying that Buffalo found a way to win, because I like the Bucs in a landslide. This is not what Tampa Bay wants. The offense for Kansas City is too fast. They have too many weapons over the top. If they play them tight, they're going to get blown the top off of. If they play them loose man, Travis Kelce is going to go for 250 yards. I don't think you can corral corral Mahomes long enough to keep him from making plays. I really don't think this one's close. I actually want to give up more points, especially because I know that there's some really tasty, plus money if you give up like over 9. I see this one being a walkover. I want to say 38 to 32. Kansas City, maybe even a 40 burger on Tampa Bay. I don't think it's going to be close. I think that Kansas City won't take their foot off the gas in this one. I also love Mahomes over with the pass, and I just don't think there's a way Tampa Bay can keep him under 350 yards.
Man, I'm sorry you're so torn about this, Gene. Sorry I put you in the spot. Not publicly.
Don't like it. I don't like it.
All right. Thanks, guys, man. This is awesome. It's Props Fest 2021 for the Super Bowl. Good times. So thank you, Zach, very much. Make sure you follow Zach, Akron Jackson. Like, how could you not want to with that handle? Thank you, Gene. That's Gene Clemons. Check out his column that we might have referenced once or twice here in this video. And for those of you who want to mess around with some betting, BetMGM, there's a special offer. It's a $600 risk-free bet. The site's great. You can see all these props that we have right there. So pick the ones you like and go after them. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you again later.